You are parked in your own driveway. The engine of your car is turned completely off, but your hands are still gripping the steering wheel so hard that your knuckles are turning white. You cannot bring yourself to open the car door and walk inside your own house. You just stare at the front window. You can see the warm light glowing in your children's bedroom. You know they are in there, playing with their toys, waiting for their daddy to come home from a long day of work. But inside your pocket, your hand is shaking. You are holding a piece of paper, a phone bill, a printed text message that proves the woman waiting for you inside, the mother of those beautiful children, has been giving herself to a complete stranger. Your heart feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds. You walk through the front door. You look her in the eyes. You lay the undeniable proof right on the kitchen table. You expect her to drop to her knees. You expect her to cry tears of massive guilt and beg for your absolute forgiveness. But she does not do that. She looks at the paper. She looks at your angry face. And then she looks down the hallway toward the children's bedroom. Her eyes instantly change. She does not defend herself. She points her finger right at your chest and she whispers in a harsh, nasty voice, "Are you really going to do this right now? Are you really going to destroy this family? Do you want to break your children's hearts and leave them in a broken home just because of one stupid mistake?" Your brain completely freezes. You are the one who was betrayed. You are the victim of a massive, dirty lie. But somehow, in a matter of 5 short seconds, she just used your own flesh and blood to turn you into the villain of the entire story. Today, we are opening the door on the absolute darkest, most evil psychological trick in the entire modern dating world. We are exposing exactly how a female cheater will use your own innocent children as human shields to protect herself from taking any accountability. If you do not understand the cold, highly calculated manipulation behind this specific tactic, you will end up losing your hard-earned money, your quiet home, your sanity, and worst of all, you will completely lose the respect of your own kids. You have to completely understand the mind of a woman who gets caught breaking her loyalty. When she is backed into a tight corner with the absolute truth, her brain goes into pure survival mode. She knows she cannot argue with the solid facts. She has absolutely no logical defense left to play. So, she bypasses logic completely and reaches for the most powerful, most dangerous emotional weapon in the entire house. She reaches directly for your fatherly love. A good, hard-working man loves his children much more than he loves his own breathing. He will gladly walk through a burning fire for his kids. He will work 3 heavy jobs for his kids. Toxic, manipulative women study this. They know exactly where your heart is incredibly soft. She knows that your deep love for your children is the only thing in the entire world that can make you drop your sword, swallow your massive anger, and surrender to her fake reality. She weaponizes your beautiful desire to be a good dad. She turns the children into a meat shield to protect her fragile ego from your righteous anger. She knows perfectly well that if she can make you feel like you are hurting the children by packing your bags and leaving her, you will swallow your heavy pride and stay. She knows that if she can paint you as the big, angry bad guy who wants to break up a happy home, she magically escapes all the blame for bringing another man into that exact same home. Let me tell you a real story about a man who fell completely into this terrible, invisible trap. We will call him David. David was a fantastic father. He worked a very heavy, exhausting warehouse job to pay for a nice house in a safe, quiet neighborhood. He loved his young son and daughter with all his heart. He would come home with dirty hands and a tired back, but he always had the energy to play games with his kids on the living room floor. One terrible night, David found out his wife had been seeing a guy she met at her gym. It had been going on behind his back for 6 whole months. David was totally crushed. His soul felt completely empty. He confronted her in the kitchen and told her he was going to pack his things and file for divorce the very next morning. His wife did not cry tears of true guilt. She instantly switched into deep manipulation mode. She looked at him. Her eyes went totally cold, and she said, "If you file for divorce, you are going to completely destroy your kids. Do you really want your son growing up without a father in the house? Do you want another strange man raising your daughter? Because if you walk out that door, I am keeping them here, and I will make absolutely sure they know you ran away from us." That single, poisonous sentence completely broke David's strong spirit. The terrifying thought of losing his little kids, the dark thought of his son thinking he was a bad man who ran away, absolutely paralyzed him on the spot. His nice guy programming took over his brain. He dropped his head, looked at the kitchen floor, and told himself, "I have to be a good dad. I have to sacrifice my own happiness and my own pride for my kids. I will just stay here for the children. I will endure the heavy pain for them." David chose to forgive the unforgivable. But he did not save his family. He just signed a lifetime contract to live in a dark, silent prison. For the next 10 years of his life, David slept alone on the living room couch. He worked himself to the absolute bone to pay the heavy bills for a woman who did not even look him in the eye when he spoke. The house was constantly cold. The emotional energy was totally dead. His wife lost all basic respect for him because she knew she could walk all over his dignity, and he would never, ever leave. But the absolute worst part of this entire tragedy is what happened to his children. Children are incredibly smart, even when they are very young. They can feel the true energy inside a house. His kids grew up watching their mother treat their father like a useless, annoying servant. They watched their dad walk around the house with his shoulders slumped, taking the daily disrespect, and never once standing up for himself. Because David did not respect himself enough to pack his bags and leave, his children never learned how to respect him either. When his son became a teenager, he talked back to David. He rolled his eyes at him. The children treated him exactly like a walking ATM machine, exactly the same way their mother did. They viewed him as a weak, pathetic man who had no backbone. David sacrificed his entire soul to stay for the kids, and in the end, he lost the true love and respect of his kids anyway. David is the loser in this dynamic because he bought into the biggest, most toxic lie society tells good men. The lie is that a two-parent home is always better than a single-parent home, even if the two-parent home is completely poisoned and full of disrespect. Listen to me very closely, because this will save your future. Staying in a house with a woman who betrayed you does not protect your children. It completely destroys their future. When you stay with a cheater, you are actively showing your kids exactly what a romantic relationship is supposed to look like. If you have a son, you are teaching him that it is perfectly normal for a man to be a silent doormat. You are teaching him to accept heavy disrespect from women. If you have a daughter, you are teaching her that a woman can do whatever terrible, sneaky things she wants, and a man will just quietly accept it and keep paying her bills. You are literally programming your own children to have broken, toxic marriages when they grow up. You must completely break the grand illusion of the happy home. When she points her finger right at your face and screams, "You are breaking up this family," you must realize that is a complete, 100% lie designed to control your actions. You did not break the family. The family was permanently broken the exact second she decided to reply to another man's text message. The family was shattered the exact moment she drove her car to a secret location. She is the one who took a heavy hammer and smashed the family mirror into a million pieces. You are just the logical guy standing in the room pointing out that the mirror is broken. Do not ever let her put that heavy hammer in your hands and make you carry the guilt. Now we have to look closely at the second, much more dangerous way she will use the kids against you. This is the absolute red zone. This is where good, innocent men lose absolutely everything they have in the courtroom. If the heavy guilt trip does not work, if you stand firm like a mountain and tell her you are still leaving, she will immediately move to the provocation stage. She desperately wants you to lose your temper. She needs you to look like a dangerous, angry, out-of-control monster in front of the children. Why does she want this? Because her dark mind is already 10 steps ahead of you. She is already thinking about the divorce court. She is already planning the messy custody battle. She knows perfectly well that the legal court system naturally favors mothers. But she wants to make absolutely sure she gets the big house, all the money, and full legal control of the kids. To do that, she needs solid legal ammunition. She needs you to hand her the loaded gun. Let us look at a real story of a man who gave her exactly what she wanted and lost his entire life because of it. We will call him Brian. Brian found out about his wife's betrayal, and he was completely blinded by red-hot, burning anger. He packed his bags in a rush, throwing his clothes into a suitcase, but right before he walked out the front door, his wife physically blocked his path. She knew exactly which psychological buttons to push inside his brain to make him explode. She started mocking him. She laughed right in his face. She told him he was a terrible father and a completely weak provider. She told him the other man made more money and was 10 times the man he would ever be. She did all of this right in the middle of the living room, while their young 5-year-old son was sitting on the couch playing with the toy. Brian completely snapped. He lost total control of his internal emotions. He started screaming at the very top of his lungs. He picked up a wooden dining chair and threw it violently against the wall, smashing it into pieces. He called her every single terrible, nasty name in the dictionary. He grabbed his heavy bags and slammed the front door so hard the glass windows rattled in their frames. He walked to his truck breathing heavily, thinking he was showing her his massive masculine strength. He thought he was proving that he would never be disrespected by a liar. He was completely wrong. He played right into her dark, perfectly laid trap. While Brian was screaming his head off and throwing the chair, his wife secretly had her phone recording crystal clear audio in her back pocket. 2 weeks later, they were standing inside a cold, quiet courtroom. She played that terrible audio recording for the judge. She cried huge, fake tears and told the judge that Brian had violent, unpredictable anger issues. She pointed out that he smashed a chair right in front of their terrified little son. She never once mentioned her cheating. She only talked about his explosive, dangerous reaction. The judge looked down at Brian like he was a violent criminal who belonged in a cage. Brian lost all custody. He was only allowed to see his own son every other weekend under strict, embarrassing supervision at a public facility. He was forced to pay massive child support and hand over the keys to the house he paid for. Brian lost his beautiful child because he let his hot anger control his cold logic. He let a highly toxic woman pull him completely down into the mud, and she beat him with years of manipulative experience. You absolutely cannot fight a manipulator with raw emotion. When she brings the heavy chaos into the room, you must become completely cold. You must become a silent ghost. If she tries to provoke you in front of your children, you have to instantly understand that she is actively trying to build a legal, criminal case against you. She wants the kids to see you acting angry and crazy so she can tell them later, "See how scary your father is? See why mommy had to make him leave the house to keep us safe?" You must completely starve her of the loud reaction she is begging you for. When you discover the betrayal, and she starts the dramatic, loud screaming, you do not yell back. You do not punch the walls. You do not throw plates. You do not call her nasty names. You look at her with totally blank, empty, completely bored eyes. You breathe very slowly from your stomach. You do not say a single word about her dirty actions in front of the kids. You walk slowly over to your children. You get all the way down on one knee so you are exactly at their eye level. You put your strong hands gently on their shoulders. You smile at them with pure, calm, fatherly love. You tell them in a very soft voice, "Daddy loves you very much. Everything is going to be perfectly okay. I have to go away for a little bit to handle some adult things, but I will always be your father, and I will see you very soon." Then you stand up slowly, grab your things, and walk out the front door in total, absolute silence. This exact reaction completely destroys her entire evil plan. She wanted to show the kids a scary monster, and you gave them a calm, loving, unshakable father. She wanted burning chaos, and you gave her perfect peace. Now, she has absolutely no audio recording to play for a judge. She has no scary story to tell the lawyers. The children did not see a dangerous man. They saw a strong, deeply controlled man. You took away every single piece of her legal ammunition without throwing a single punch. This brings us to the ultimate winner. Let us talk about a man who faced the absolute worst manipulation possible, and came out completely victorious on the other side. We will call him Michael. Michael caught his wife red-handed in a major lie. He saw the messages on her laptop. He knew exactly what kind of manipulative woman she was. He knew she was going to try and take the kids away the moment he brought it up. He knew she was going to spin a massive web of dark lies to all their friends and family to make herself look like the victim. Michael did not say a single word to her. He did not confront her right away with the printed proof. He spent 2 entire weeks acting completely normal, going to work, and smiling at the dinner table, while he secretly built an ironclad legal strategy behind the scenes. He quietly hired the absolute best lawyer he could afford. He gathered every single text message, every bank receipt, every piece of hard, undeniable proof. He secured his bank accounts so she could not drain the money. He secured a new living situation for himself. When absolutely everything was perfectly in place, he walked into the kitchen on a Tuesday morning and handed her the divorce papers. She went completely, totally crazy. She immediately ran into the living room where the children were playing and started telling them terrible, nasty lies about Michael. She told the kids that Daddy was abandoning them for a new life. She told them Daddy did not love them anymore and wanted to leave them behind. She actively tried to turn the pure hearts of his kids into sharp weapons against his soft chest. It was the most painful, heartbreaking thing Michael ever experienced. Seeing his own kids look at him with deep confusion and anger almost broke him in half. But Michael stayed the course. He knew a very deep secret about human nature. He knew that the truth is exactly like a full-grown lion. You do not ever have to defend a lion. You just let it out of the cage, and it will naturally defend itself. Michael never spoke badly about their mother to the kids. He never called her names in front of them. When he had his visitation time, he just focused 100% on being a great dad. He played sports with them in the park. He helped them with their school homework. He provided a completely safe, incredibly peaceful environment at his new place. He never asked the kids what their mother was doing. He kept all the toxic, messy adult drama totally away from their young minds. Over the next few long years, the kids started to grow up. Their brains matured. They started to see things clearly with their own eyes. They lived with their mother most of the time, and they saw her chaotic, messy lifestyle. They saw her bring completely different men in and out of the house. They heard her constantly complaining, screaming on the phone, and always playing the victim. Then they would go to their dad's quiet house for the weekend. It was clean. It was incredibly stable. Their dad was always calm. Their dad never yelled about the past. Their dad always kept his promises and showed up exactly on time. By the time the kids were teenagers, the grand illusion completely shattered. They realized entirely on their own that their mother had lied to them their entire lives to cover up her own mistakes. They realized that their dad was not the bad guy who abandoned them. He was the solid rock who simply escaped a burning building to survive. When they got old enough to choose where they wanted to live, both of his children ended up packing their bags and choosing to live with Michael full-time. Brothers, if you're watching right now, I need a small favor. My ex said I wouldn't even reach 100K subscribers. I need you to help me prove her wrong. Please hit subscribe, drop a like, and leave a comment right now. Let's show her what men can do when we stand together, learn from each other's pain, and absolutely refuse to be manipulated in the dark anymore. Michael won the ultimate war because he played the long game. He understood that you cannot force young children to see the hard truth when they are easily manipulated by a toxic mother. You have to patiently show them the truth through your daily, consistent actions over a very long period of time. You cannot out-manipulate a highly toxic woman. You can only outlast her with pure, unshakable masculine character. You must remember that a female cheater is entirely driven by selfish self-preservation. In the exact moment she gets caught, she does not look at your children as human beings with real feelings. She looks at your children as valuable chess pieces she can move around the board to protect her own queen. She will use their tears to blind your logic. You have to completely detach your hot emotions from her cold words. When she threatens to turn the kids against you, you have to realize that true love cannot be poisoned forever. If you are a consistent, solid, peaceful father, the truth will always rise to the top like oil on water. You are the leader of your bloodline. You set the standard for what is acceptable behavior in a relationship. If you tolerate betrayal just to keep everyone sleeping under the same roof, you are failing your ultimate duty as a father. Your duty is to show your children what strength actually looks like. Strength is not staying where you are disrespected. Strength is walking away from the disrespect and building a brand new kingdom where peace actually rules. Brothers, if you're watching right now, I need a small favor. My ex said I wouldn't even reach 100K subscribers. I need you to help me prove her wrong. Please hit subscribe, drop a like, and leave a comment right now. Let's show her what men can do. I want you to think very deeply about the future of your children right now. I want you to go down to the comment section and answer this very smart question. Think carefully before you type, because your answer might save another man's life. What was the absolute most twisted, manipulative lie your ex ever told your children to try and make you look like the bad guy? And how did your kids eventually figure out the absolute truth? Did she tell them you did not want to pay for their toys anymore? Did she tell them you loved your job more than you loved them? Write your honest story down in the comments. Let us expose these highly toxic parenting tactics so that the younger brothers reading this can mentally prepare themselves for the exact same battle. Keep your mind perfectly calm, protect your children with your silent actions, and never, ever let a traitor use your own beautiful heart against you. Stand strong.